Yeah.
Okay, here we are, back from lunch, continuing part 2 of Roy Adams making a swedge block.
I need to get wired for sound again.
Hey Mike, I think he needs his sound back on.
Oh, yeah, let's get you. Need my sound again?
Yeah.
I'm fine without it if everybody can hear me fine.
They can actually hear you pretty well up there with
What?
I think you had too much lunch.
I think it did. I got fat.
Right up from the above your belly button up through. That's all. That works. Oh, you did, yeah.
I'm gonna need to know your middle name.
Well, yeah, I got that email.
Fred's okay, we're good. I can unbutton your button and unbutton your clothes.
Hey, we had lunch together.
Yeah, we did.
That's it, basically.
So those people, I haven't heard from them, but they said they weren't going to wait a whole lot longer.
Does your wife run your account all the time on Instagram?
Knock that check off.
Not always.
Okay.
So you can always tell when I've made an Instagram post. When I've made an Instagram post, it has no hashtagging whatsoever.
Okay.
I'm like, I did this today, ain't I awesome?
Because I posted something earlier and she responded to it. She put her name at the end of it though, so we knew it was her. But
Yeah, that was
You got to
good.
finish your year.
Usually she doesn't do that. She just comments like she's me. Sometimes that gets us in trouble though, because
That's all.
she'll reply like, somebody will be like, what the heck are you talking about? You know, I'm like, honey.
or she like agrees to work.
I'm like, you got that completely wrong. Like just let me handle this next one. So I'm lazy like that. I make Jessica do everything on the business side.
Well, and they have to break up that
Does she work separately
deal
or just?
because whoever was given to when you look at it
Oh, I didn't
says,
turn your mic
how
on.
many things you better know, the newsletter, all of the hammer-ins, all of the, you know.
Yep,
There we go.
Maybe we have to break that up. Jason was all, oh yeah, I can do it all, no problem.
Yeah, she homeschools all three of her kids. So yep.
So
Dan runs the
we have to
business?
break that up because this
Yeah.
maybe we
And she puts up with me.
say, okay, I'll take.
I mean, that was hard enough.
the-
Let's all give Jessica a clap and effigy. Putting up with this in truck.
That's the biggest round of applause you got so far.
I know, right? Don't worry, I'll take credit for it later. Like I did something impressive.
Just edit
It's all
it
good.
in.
I'll just edit it.
You got a good shot of the back of his shirt there.
I know, I do.
Oh, was that on the whole time?
No, I just hit start.
Yeah, 'cause your kids are younger too, so she's probably sitting home with two kids screaming, one kid wanting to do this, do that.
They're not too bad. They're not too bad. My youngest is 4. My youngest is 4, so they've kind of gotten past that stage. That's really helped a lot.
Oh,
A lot.
this is 3, and my wife hasn't blown my eyes yet today, so we're doing okay.
Yeah. You ready?
All right.
So we're working on our other sides now, the smaller sides, and we got the larger sides done. So just like before, we're going to go ahead and brush it a little bit. Good. That's good. That scale hurt.
Oh, I got.
Difficult, Alright, so this is where we'll have to adjust slightly. Yep. Now, as I've said before, this is kind of the nice part.
Because he's coming off vice president. You know, because the president is winning.
Don't you all just love power hammers?
Yeah, especially the humankind.
That know what they're doing. We're going to get that all in one piece. Good? Now let's go. Yeah, we're going to go on right here.
Good hammer.
Great hammering.
Hit that right dead center. Beautiful.
Every time. Well,
Good job.
Thank you.
do the work.
Oh, more.
A little more. Well, it's good. So just like that, it's that easy. It's that easy. Everybody get him around with applause, please. He
Hey,
deserves it.
Michael.
So.
That's why they handle on that post like that.
This is the whooping shed. That's what that strikes for.
You all right there?
So we had to adjust this. This is great because he's got these hollowed out areas. By the way, that wasn't by any sort of design or intention. It just kind of happened that way. That because those are swollen out, I can move that out into there now, and it worked out all right. See? So now with this, we've got one laid out, we've got one to finish depth, and we've got one last one that's kind of laid out. And so this one here, we are going to actually make, should say that wrong. Let's back that truck up. This one we're going to make larger. This one here, we're going to finish out to this depth. And then this one here, we're going to go about, maybe half as much down. And, so you don't need a bunch of different little sizes beyond that, because the little ones, they just bend all around and get whispery. Like you try to make a 3/8 swedge, they get kind of whispery, so they're not good to do the majority of your work with. So this is working pretty good this way. So we've got one tool, we've been able to do this, and technically you could just leave it like that if you needed those type shapes. But I need to drag my feet more and fill up this milk bucket. So we're not going to leave it like this. We're going to make him sweat some more.
You're saying he doesn't want to do anything else besides this.
Exactly. Don't tell him my secrets. I told you.
Well, you were worried about heckling yesterday, so you have to try to fill that promise.
I want that. I want the heckling. You know what's funny is, I actually welcome the heckling, and here's why. And I say that cautiously because I know what type of group of people I'm in here. The reason why I welcome that heckling is because it is tough to be a demonstrator. Sit out here. You got 5 guys that are falling asleep. I know. It's happened. It's happened. 5 guys that are falling asleep. 3 guys, usually young guys, on their cell phone.
Wait, hold on. Don's not your
Right? You got 3 guys on a cell phone, right? And then last but not least, you have those guys that are like sitting there. Like, I mean, they're plotting your demise. You swear they are. They're just quiet, letting live. You're like, so how you guys enjoying this demo? That's all you get, just the head nod thing. And then afterwards, everybody's like, oh, you did a great job. I'm like, I couldn't tell, man. I'm cracking jokes. Not a word. Not a giggle.
That's how they are.
Yeah, I'll just tell you what, it's tough.
And then by the same extreme, we've had demonstrators up here where if you were sitting in the front row, you couldn't hear what's going on because everybody in the back bleachers, they're talking about everything else under the sun except watching the demonstrator. But yet they paid to come here and see the demonstrator.
Or you could go into the one where the guy just doesn't talk.
I've been to those, yeah. I can't do that. I don't think it's in my nature. I'm a natural born talker.
It's just a
friend of mine liked to tell me, he said, man, we're friends and all. I was like, you can talk a dog off a T-bone steak. I said, man, I said, as not to lose anything, didn't miss a step. I said, buddy, that I can make that dog become a vegetarian. I'm like, that's right. And he said, see what I'm talking about? I'm like, yes, sir, I do. So since this is going well, there will be some other stuff to actually, no joke, this isn't me dragging my feet. In order for us to do the depressions, to do the center depressions, we have to let it cool off for a bit. And we have to grind it flat first, unless we were going to forge those, which would just add a lot more time to the job just forge them. So I'm going to opt to grind them flat. So to do that, I'll just do the grinding on it and stuff. So it has to sit and cool for a period of time in order to get those all finished up nicely. I'll be making the depressions with these top tools here. Like bobs, if you will. Yeah, they're dope.
Like a spoon one.
No, I don't have a spoon one. So, and I had thought. Yeah, and I had thought about doing that, taking that railroad spike and turning it into basically a spoon depression, and then adding that to this thing. So, got plenty of time. But
really,
yeah,
you could just take one of your bot punches and kind of forge the paper on the side too, right?
good.
Or he just makes a spoon punch.
I waste a lot of time that way. You'll be good to go.
Today. We'll be around tomorrow.
Cool. So,
He didn't say, but
so we got 4 different size depressions that we'll put in the block, and then I am going to do the spoon one just to show how you can take use of something that's already mostly spoon shaped and work that out. Or I might just forge it from scratch, just for the heck of it. So you do the heck of it. So.
bear trap.
So I had a guy wanting to, one time I ended up telling him no. He wanted me to take and do silver smithing for him. For silver flatware sets, like really high-end silver flatware sets. And basically at that time it was just, I would have had to quit doing copper work entirely and completely change the orientation of the shop to do silver work. Because silver, when you're forging on silver, if it has just an ounce, and I do mean an ounce, a thin film of scale on it, or something like that, you will leak that into your work, and when you go to polish it later, you'll be like, oh, okay, that looks pretty good. You'll grind it, you'll get it sanded up, and it'll look real great. Well, you just think it looks great. Yeah, it don't look great. As soon as you polish it, you just see little flecks of scale that are still stuck in the finish where it kind of just got cold lapped over, and it never, you know, because the silver's so soft that anything that's harder than the silver just scabs over. And then when you go to sand it and then polish that off later, you got all these flecks. So I spent about a month or 2 creating different designs, work, and trying to figure out my process of silver for the guy. I just ended up having to turn it down and walk away from it. He would have too big of a learning curve. So the guy still wants me to do work for him. At some point, he's like, "Well," he said, "if you ever think that you get into a bigger shop and you actually want to do that, let me know." Because I just think your work is like, you would be great at doing this. And that's another example of where maybe a good opportunity may not be the right opportunity for you at the right time. Just to put a price tag on that, that was about, he was willing to buy from me about $35,000 of silver worth a month.
And
That's what he was willing to buy from me. And I just couldn't do it.
I need a piece of
Just couldn't do
Hard
it.
to keep up with that too.
So, yeah, to keep up with the demand. And you know, whole sets, whole place settings. So, you know, I mean, that's what the fancy people do, you know, where they've got like the fork and like the spoon for everything. Like,
Yeah, 2 forks.
they got, I don't even know. So, it was a whole bit. The 8-piece, full 8-piece set per serving, and like certain, like, and it was like 15 or 16 place settings per order of different designs, you know. And but again, huge opportunity that would be, but for me that means I would have had to move away from blacksmithing entirely and retrain myself into doing all the ins and outs of silverwork. But during that, I said all that to mention that I made some spoons and I made some different stuff during that time. I found out, even though this has a spoon swedge in the back, You don't want to beat silver work into this spoon swedge. It just it made a really rough looking spoon that I ended up having to
Okay, keep
remelt
me
down
posted.
and make into something else.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
I was casting, I was pouring basically a blank. I come up with a mold, made the mold for it, manufactured the mold to where you could demold the thing and it was the exact amount of volume of silver that I needed to form a spoon. And then I had a mold that was for a fork and it had the right volume that was in it. Because, you know, this wasn't like, hey, I just want like a silver spoon where, you know, you can just kind of just wing it. He was wanting a bunch and they all had to be exact. And basically I just said, well, no can do. Sorry. This way, this time. We're going to really mess you up. How's that sound? We're going to go to the depth of the other one.
Oh,
Good.
wow, but I don't know.
Okay, good.
Still putting stuff away. There is. It went
Good.
well, we put it together.
Yeah, let's crack it.
Which one is it? That one? Yeah, it's cracking on the end. Well, now. Aim a little more to the outside. There you go.
So I got a little pile of beans left, so I'll
Yeah.
just fill that off in the nice wood in the oven.
Let's go one more here.
We'll go for it again.
I'm such a bastard. I'm sorry.
So that's that.
Good. Good, good, good.
But didn't.
Good job.
I'll put more.
What'd you do with that brush? Got it?
Yeah.
Good job. Thank you. You're taking over.
Do it.
Am I?
Yeah.
All right. A little bit.
Yeah, you didn't even think of that.
Try to run both off.
Man, this is hard.
No.
What was I thinking?
I stopped.
I just cleaning it up.
A few times when I used to go
Cut lines in it that I was just wanting to clean up.
and man, I'm thinking I could feel my scalp was here on the puzzle line. And it was
Packaging?
back and forth. So, you know, it was.
Wearing out strikers one at a time.
You gotta put holes in that one too?
Nope, these are going to be bowls. These are going to be bowl depressions. Yep. There you go. What do you guys think of that? See? Now it's starting to look like something. Now it'll get flipped. And we'll do the other side.
Squares on that one?
Yep, squares will go on this one. We did it right.
You got one of many things.
We're going to try this out.
It'll happen that way. Because when you spread out all the material from the circles and the squares, it comes out the end, and then you get a curve to it.
Get this set up ahead of time.
Way like right here.
Before I had this barrel, the regular barrel that was on there was just
Ah, I see. You're going to create a problem.
That makes my I don't like the color.
So what you're saying is he needs to stand there and hold it so it doesn't bounce around.
Then I realized I didn't need to.
He thinks he's getting like off easy.
Yeah. What? Your ears burning?
No. What do we do?
We're just talking about it.
Alright.
Because he's not wanting to hold it or fixture. So we're saying someone might have to hold tongs.
That's fine by me.
Yeah, that's fine by me. I'll hold the tongs.
You got 2 sets.
So,
Yeah, they go anywhere.
so here's something I really encourage people to try to do. I encourage people to not be afraid of taking another heat. There is no shame in taking another heat. You get the work done. When the metal starts to cool off, quit wailing on it. Stop working yourself to death. You know, stop wearing out strikers. I mean, don't do that. Take another heat. That's, you know, metal likes to be moved hot. And if it's in a factory, they're going to get it hot again, you know, so.
Hey, Mike, I want to give you a bag of salt. Already gone through a bag and a half.
Yep. Get it hot, hit it hard, as the Francis Whitaker statement has said, huh?
Get that clinker out of this so we don't break that in.
Oh, Harlan. I was going to say, next year, that's going to be up about your shirt pocket.
Can you give me the handle of that heats up. Probably just started. Good.
Probably just back.
Yeah, that's all right. That's what editing is for. The miracle of editing. I really like watching. Sometimes I like watching Alex Steele's videos for that, the editing. He'll do one where, you know, he'll chuck something. Now, I'm not a big fan of that, showing the horse around in the workshop, but it's good editing when he shows something like he chucked something and the next minute it's like in the forge. That's all editing. You know, you clip out all that time. He really just walked over there and put it in the forge and went, go! You know, it just, yeah, edited that part out.
What are you using the rag under here?
Because that's an LCD screen, and an LCD screen put in direct sunlight, you can burn out the crystals in the screen. So I put the shade on the back side to stop that. In my shop, I actually use that rag all the time. So in my shop, you know, it gets gritty. There's dirt and dust floating around, and you know, there's $1,200 worth of camera sitting there, so it gets covered with. Yeah, and it picks it up, and it's flammable too. So I get camera on blaze. That wouldn't be no good.
You really watch Alex?
Yep. I watch them on occasion, so when I get the time to chance to stick, so.
When you need a good laugh.
Yeah, yeah, Alex Steele's videos, they're great. You know, he's moved away from trying to do anything educational with it, and he's done more about just focusing on kind of the art and the fun side of blacksmithing, trying to remind people to have fun. Fortunately, sometimes in his videos, you know, he lacks the safety element. And I am a hardliner for safety in my shop. You know, there's no giggles in my shop, because I know I have a high degree of respect for the equipment that is in my shop. And, you know, power hammer can maim you. Get into it enough, might kill you, especially if it's a big enough hammer. Press most definitely will kill you. It's just asking for a reason to kill you. So, you know, that, you know, if I'm running around machinery, no, I'm not jamming out to tunes where I can't hear stuff. I like to hear my equipment run. I like to know that it's functioning properly. It's giving me any warning signs, creaking or croning, that it's not supposed to be doing. I could be smart enough to move out of the way. I actually got in a bad way when I first built my hydraulic press. I built it all the wrong way. I tried to cheap out on stuff. I learned real quick, just because it's a pretty weld doesn't mean it's an actual penetrating weld. Learned that the hard way. But I welded I was testing this thing Had no clue whatsoever. Had no clue whatsoever of how to make this press. And I just figured I went up to Sofa and I kind of just like looking at their press they had. And I'm like, I can go home and figure that out. And then went home, do a little more, and I go back up to Sofa and look at the press, you know. Didn't want to ask any questions, you know, because that would be the smart and safe thing to do. But I didn't want to look like I didn't know anything. So went back home, kept trying to figure it out. And I got it all together, got it all welded up, thought I did a real bang-up job on this thing, getting it all welded up, and went to go to look at it. I went to go test on it, test press, and what I did is I welded a piece of I-beam that the clevis of the press was hooked to, of the ram was hooked to, and I just welded it, just put one stitch of weld down each side of this I-beam. I didn't put no plating, I didn't put nothing in there for safeties, no gussets, no nothing like that. Everything was hinged on 2 welds that I thought had penetrated. Oh no, oh no. They were surface deep, surface deep. So I got fooling around with it, and I'm playing with it, trying to press on this piece of steel and stuff, and I took a piece of fence pipe, another dumb no-no, cold. Want to see the power, you know, that piece of fence pipe's turned up on in, you know, is going to crush that piece of fence pipe. Because, you know, I had crushed Coke cans, so logically, you go to fence pipe, right? You go to fence pipe. Coke cans to fence pipe. It was doing great on the Coke cans. Just stacking those suckers up and right down. Put that piece of fence pipe in there, went to press, it sheared off those welds and come down, whacked me right across the shoulder like that. That whole cylinder did. It blew off the top and come right down and hit like that. And I'm pretty sure I had a cracked collarbone on that one. I'm pretty sure. It hurt for a couple months. But I know this shoulder here, I couldn't lift this arm up for several weeks. And this was just blue and purple and black and all sorts of nasty. And of course, we didn't have health care. So I wasn't about to go into the hospital for it. It's like, you really need to go in for that. I'm like, it's not bleeding. It's okay. You know, and yeah, so I learned real quick, you know, that it was not a tool to be trifled with. So I totally redesigned it. I asked for a lot of help, and then I beefed that thing up with solid steel. I used a stick welder that could actually, instead of my cruddy little MIG welder that I had that was running on 110 current. Yeah, I traded out the Harbor Freight welder. Yeah, you traded that out for.
Yeah, you trade up to a Linkart 225.
Yeah.
After that.
So I learned my lesson. So long story short, I'm kind of a bit of a safety ninny when it comes in the shop because I like to go home. I like to go home at the end of the day to my wife and kids.
With
You know,
all
the
your
last thing I need is this, you know, I'm a working man. Last thing I need to do is lose an arm or lose fingers or be dead, and then my family doesn't have an income anymore. So, you know, that kind of changes things, you know. It used to be like, I'd be all right. Who needs those things?
You don't know how much life insurance he had.
She was like,
You need about 2 inches over. Yeah, over 2 more inches, you're going to cash in that $2 million life insurance policy.
God, we were almost rid of him. All the kids are sad. Why are you all sad, kids? Mommy said we're not going to Disneyland after all.
Wait till you get done over that. Good somebody. Yeah.
What I'm doing here, besides dropping this big block of steel around like I don't know what I'm doing, since these clamps are up so high, they're not gripping the block evenly, so it's trying to bend it, twist it up, basically. Yeah, basically like that. So I might just have somebody hold it and whack at it.
Frank is ready to hold it.
Is Frank ready to hold it?
You're good, right, Frank.
I'll let you hold it, Frank.
You're back in, hurry up, pull it out of that down.
Oh, we've got time.
Remember, Grant, when I nod my head, you hit it.
The whole head. Good.
I mean, how?
Good.
Harder, Grant. Harder. Harder. Come on, Grant.
Come on, Roy, you give it a try.
That's it. Now you're getting it. Come on, Grant.
Good.
These sides, this side's fine.
Now you're getting into it, Grant. Oh, don't
All right.
overstep.
There you go.
Come on, Grant.
Well,
Cutting that thing in half, Grant?
Yeah.
this back this way.
Yeah. Where's that kilt at?
I need you to
had that
hit me
kilt
more
in
on
it,
this
it's
side.
harder.
Give me a little over. Half on, half off. Good. Now in the center. Good. Breathe.
I know, you should put it back there.
Good. Great. Good. Here we go.
You know,
One more
it's
here,
not the
buddy.
first time it's been Grant.
Grant!
Come on. Are
Do
you
the
working?
work.
Talking, Grant.
Do the left. Good.
Job of an apprentice is never over.
And last but not least, let's go ahead and get this one just marked. Good. And a little more on the half on, half off. Good job. And one more. Good job.
Good job.
Everybody give him a hand clap. No, I don't need those. I need these.
Yeah, you need those.
These will hold better. I'll let you use these next
Okay,
time.
you're
they
welcome
come
to
out.
try.
He would have stopped the yak.
Yeah.
I work right through.
That look good to you?
Yeah.
Coming along?
Definitely have to do some grinding.
Quite a bit. That's why I brought the 9-inch grinder. There you go.
Well, we got ready to tear down and stuff.
Yeah, none of this sissy 4.5-inch angle grinder. No, we're getting.
No.
He's gonna get out the industrial one with the disc about this big. 2 swipes and it'll be done.
I wish they worked that fast. I bought that thing because I thought it would work that fast. It sadly enough did not. Great job. Thank you, sir.
Roy just wants harder, harder, harder.
How about me over there?
No, not that Roy, that.
No, that Roy.
I said that Roy needs to change his name, man. I'm telling you right now.
Well-
He's associated with this guy. That's not a good thing.
Well, that Roy did come up behind me and kind of give me a cut, so you know.
Wrap it around, you know.
But hey, maybe that works out in my favor. I'm associated with that guy. So he says Roy, and they're like, yeah, work out just fine.
I got a reputation.
You don't want to be associated with him if you're going to be crossing state lines.
That wasn't a lot back then.
Not welcome there anymore.
They said, please don't come back.
Sir, where were you the night of the 15th?
And then when they said,
At home, reading a
they
book.
said, please don't come back.
But I don't know where it is.
Like, where were you? Reading a book. What book?
Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah,
A big.
that's
big-
my business.
For whom the bells toll.
Yeah, you gotta have that stuff lined up ahead of time.
Yeah, yeah, you gotta have those alibis lined up ahead of time.
I remember some of these things. I know if I ever get a call, were
Yeah.
you with Michael Martin? Yes.
Yes, I was with him that day. So you were involved in the murder too? No, I wasn't. I'm a lot of one call.
He put a rock there.
Grant,
No, what?
stay out of my cooler and watch that rock down.
No, I didn't. There's a fucking rock there.
Keep practicing, Grant. You'll get it.
You're gonna have to like overdub
That
all
rock's,
of your videos.
that rock's been there
I will.
for 20 years, you know.
Yeah, there is no family friendly.
Come on, this will be great for you.
Grant, he's giving you the sexy angle.
Is it?
You're gonna look so much better.
Is that where it makes me actually look skinny?
Yep.
Is that quartering on top?
This is a wide angle. You know, TV had 10 pounds, Grant.
Yeah.
Oh no. When I was looking
Watch
at those
that.
2 videos, I was gonna post one of them, and one of them I was like, that guy's fat. I'm not posting that video. That guy was me.
I was gonna say, you remember that picture of you, video of you working on that power hammer I took? It's good. Definitely put that on.
I'm just more weight for higher. I want to stick it out
Yep.
further.
Counterbalance.
Cheers, Tyler. Somebody SAG violations today? Should have hired a little guy.
Yeah, I
Sound.
With that correction on these guys.
Not to mention all the non-union strikers he's hired today.
Do you need a rigger or?
No, it's all for a nonprofit organization.
Then I got the internet after.
Now everybody's gonna climb up into the bleachers to see the LCD.
What's the second locking nut rigger?
Huh?
Second lock.
Extra security, not to drop a 1,200 pound, $1,200 camera.
Camera.
You know, they said I
I'm
was.
getting my numbers wrong.
Numbers.
Numbers. And
Words. You were saying.
Right?
The ones that are made of letters are called words.
You guys are good at heckling. You're getting me off track. Keep that up. We need to fill time. What's that?
We have to get warmed up for down fast.
The ceremonial cold forge lighting?
That's right. Everyone, please come to Down Fast because we're going to light his cold forge for the first time in his life history. In the garage without a chimney.
With the doors shut.
With the door shut.
There is about a 2-inch gap. It'll be a painting party immediately following.
No, we're gonna leave. That's
Yeah, I don't think
all
I've
we're
ever
doing.
filmed anything with it up that high.
Yeah. Does that
Hopefully that'll work.
power hammer?
And then we can run a power hammer that's probably only been run 3 times in its life. It's got rebuilt.
How's it look?
It's probably cleaner
And there's
right
things
now
on it.
than when it rolled off the factory floor.
Barely what? They
It was
are.
power hammer. No, Don's.
Yeah, I'm not chancing it.
No, not Ralph's. There's a 5-gallon grease on it.
I haven't downloaded it yet. I need to. Yeah.
Somebody greased it, but go out there and side.
All right. We're gonna hit the go button.
One put my hand up against it the other
Should
day.
ask Grant to take over.
He might knock the camera over.
You know how I would have done that? I would have grabbed it and leaned it over.
Can I use this hammer?
All right.
Make fun of Grant all we want, but don't touch
This is a family video.
Ooh, I see Sparkies.
Yeah, we are a
Yep.
family.
Gonna let that calm down right there.
We all love each other, but we'll probably kill someone sooner or later.
If you want to reduce burning, you can just stick it over in your green coal. And just go like that, and it'll insulate it from the oxygen for a bit and stop some of that sparking. Just a few. I mean, what's a demonstration without, you know, take a few sparks here and there. Squeeze that in. Right?
That's it, Grant. What a sissy.
I don't hear the bell yet.
You're not even a third yet.
Like 75%.
Well, see how we're getting off there a little bit? Go ahead and shift a little bit.
Okay, watch your head.
Well, better. Just stick it out there so you can angle it right. Grant can compensate. Good. Kind of clean that up once, just get the top.
Hey Grant, how come you haven't hit Roy at all with that sledgehammer?
Because I like Roy.
Man,
Not
that's
that
the first time
one.
I've
It's
been like.
me, the sledgehammer when we strike together. So now I know that he can not hit good.
Well, I did hit Roy yesterday in the face. Pretty sure.
Yeah, I think we're tied
Yeah.
3 right now.
Yeah, we're tied 3-3 and probably tied for the burnings as well.
See, I'm looking for wisdom and experience until I'm doing okay.
Now, when you, did you just grind that?
I know what you got to work with there.
Or would you just, when you flatten that out?
What's that?
That flare,
I'm going to grind it off.
you grind it off,
You can hammer it flat, but what happens is as soon as you try to hammer it flat, this flops up. And then you got to work it down, and then you flop it up, and then you got to work it down, and then you flop it up, and you got to work it down. So I'm opting, in this particular case, just to grind it. Go ahead and just grind it flat. Unless you guys want to see that process.
we got a grant.
Yeah, we do have a grant.
We have. I think we should see Roy and Roy work together.
It's the double Roy.
Roy and Roy.
I mean, only if you want to do it that way.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I'll volunteer grant.
And I'm refusing to volunteering him. So.
No, most likely we'll just grind it off. We'll just grind that off. I gotta clean that one up to the club anyhow. Clean that up. So we'll
I
grind
mean,
it.
if you hot rasp it, you could fill up a lot more time.
I could. That is true.
Yeah, we'll see you
You need to pay this fellow more.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
I already have the maximum salary within the organization.
Is that what it is?
By the time next week rolls,
Yeah, it's $10.
around,
And
Roy
we
will
have
still
to
be
make
going.
donations and overpay for things that often.
Yeah.
Negative.
All right, so we're gonna set that down. We're gonna let that cool for a bit. You see how much percentage-wise it's larger
Grant cool, too.
than that other one.
Show me the other end, how much harder to get this guy.
Not much. Not much on this
Mike,
one.
you should have made.
Because I did one less. I should have done one more.
Should have kept a spare one.
One more fuller.
You know, because Ralph wants to.
And technically I could do that. I've got enough room I could put in a real small one. Y'all want a little small square in there? Get a little
Yeah, but I think
extra-
we need to address
Get a little
your
extra curve.
We need to fix your amp first. You're leaning hard.
It is leaning hard, isn't it?
I think we're gonna end.
That's because Grant's hitting it too hard.
Yeah.
Or is it Mike that's hitting it too hard? We don't know.
Oh, we kind of figured out that Michael's a better striker and I'm a better leader.
No, you were hitting hard today.
Yeah, I'm gonna opt out on that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna leave it like it is. It looks good. If I put one more chop in here, that's gonna be too thin.
It's all right.
So,
And then it wouldn't go
Yeah.
from smallest to biggest, and I
You got
couldn't
enough
handle
money,
that.
they still say yes.
Yeah. Now,
If you did another one, it wouldn't go from smallest to largest, and I wouldn't be able to handle that.
no, it wouldn't. It would just mess you up forever. You would look at
Give it
that.
to Michael.
Yeah.
He'd be over there going,
I can't look at it.
now the one thing that Roy was talking about earlier about feeling the vibration from an off hit or whatever. Yeah, I'm holding that block, Grant's hitting it, and I can feel that coming. I guarantee you, I'm gonna feel that tomorrow.
Right up the top. So, yeah. So you can see percentage-wise how much bigger that block is compared to the other one. And of course that's been dressed down a little bit, but still that's a decent-sized block. If you got a buddy and some time.
so we're going to start making these on Tuesdays with kids, Michael?
Yeah, why not?
You oughta.
No.
I watched Fortune Fire once. All right, grab that sledgehammer.
Who wants to make sweatbox?
I'll even leave you all the tools to do it. How's that sound?
They all want to make a knife.
Yeah. Everybody wants to get a knife maker.
Yeah.
Don't you want to know how to make an S
Place
I
scrap.
want a knife.
Don't even look close to it.
Can we make a sword? Well, when they soar, I'll stack it to
What I'm doing here is I don't need this much coke that's been burning and getting ready to go.
In the driveway, that
I'm
it's
just pulling all that out of there because I don't want to have extra. I don't need a big fire anymore. I don't need a big blaze. I'll reduce the size of this, and I want to show you how we make our drifts. I want to make a drift. I'm going to get a little bit bigger size, and I'm going to finish drifting these out just a little bigger than what they were. So that way, since that hole was oversized, I'm just going to go ahead and make one of these drifts, and I'll show how to do that.
Aren't you gonna put swedges in?
Yeah, there'll be swedges that'll be done in the base of this, but I have to grind that all off. I gotta grind that all off. So that's gotta cool off enough that I can hit it with the flat disc. Got ruined, so.
I can bring it a little better one.
Yeah, if you get on them flat disc, the material's too hot, they smell terrible.
Speaking of which, Roy #1 over there is a master hot rasper, so I think we could clean that up for us.
They call a lot of things, but not
Any rats? Right. You guys bring any rats?
I don't think I have.
I think somebody just really wants to see a rasping demonstration.
Actually, next month is Michael Barton making acne threads on a vise. And he demonstrated at Ralph's one day.
What?
He's fixing a acne thread on a vise.
I did not agree to that.
Oh, yeah, remember? Oh, that needs some serious work.
No, we're at Pavin next month, right? Or do we have our own too?
We have our own.
Where's it at?
Ours is a picnic.
Oh, it's a picnic night.
Oh, I can do that at a picnic.
Isn't that gonna be there?
Yeah, Asheville Arts Center.
Speaking of Asheville, where's it up there?
In Asheville.
Should I bring the boat?
Boat. Sounds better than standing in a field.
We got a spear. Just remember you spear them all up.
Yeah, be careful out in Asheville. You probably got some pretty good eyes.
That river's hard.
Yeah.
That river's hard to get out of.
Sure. I've been down some of the rivers. They don't smell too good.
Right.
Monday we went up there for airport. Went out of by the rings. Right. Avon Lake, around by Avon Lake, there are a couple of fish.
Yeah, it's not, not very good.
But it's okay. A little bigger. Oh yeah. About the biggest one we found. They're mostly about 17.
Just looking for a little larger stock than what I got.
We went out Monday and got 15.
Okay, while we're waiting for things to cool down, Roy's going to demonstrate how to make a drift.
Alright, we'll use these. You got one? There we go.
Yeah.
Almost looks like I knew that this was going to happen. But not really. You got a pair of tongs that'll hold these better. Bolts. You got a pair of bolt jaw tongs. And a hot cut of some kind, hardy. About this time might be good to have an anvil brought over.
Last year I had another.
We don't have one. We thought that was going to be your next demo, making an airport.
What? Oh, is that what it is? I can.
Steel.
Do you?
Well, then.
Do you have a big enough chunk of steel?
You want to make a 400-pound Columbia? What do you want to make? Yeah.
Oh,
You look like you ought to be. Come on, I think you ought to go out. Steel, man. Maybe. Is that big enough? Go like
that. For that there, yeah, that 5/8 rail respect. What are you talking about? That there? No. it's going to end up being about the same. So that's the same size that I already kind of put through. That there, that's ½ inch. Yeah, I got this railroad spike here. Yeah, I'll just shove that through. Got some new material. I do need, somebody wants to give me something that says, they roll me an anvil. Sweetness. Somebody wants to give me a piece of bar stock.
Where do you want it, Dan?
Figured. We'll set it right here. I'll move this out of the way. I don't need this for the time being here. I just needed a hot cut. Yeah, I got it.
Is this out of our drawer?
Yeah, it was. He brought that over.
We know which angle we're getting.
Alright. Good enough. If anybody's got a piece of stock that is you know, I'd probably just double drip that seems out. 3/4 square? Do you have any 3/4 inch square?
3/4 square.
Brad! 3/4 square?
3/4 square.
All right. Have some extra fun here. See, I guess I should have brought my main smithing hammer, huh? Didn't think that one through. Yep, at least I brought that one. It's good stuff.
Is there any in the yellow bucket over there?
I don't know. We'll go look.
Because that's all scrap new.
That's 7/8, I believe.
That there is.
He's laying there. He's looking in the bucket to see if he's got
Just the only thing I can find in the bucket is these remotely close, but I don't think it's...
I think that's 5/8.
What you got there? Let me see that one.
I think it's 5/8.
Let me check it real quick, Frank. I just use one of my regular drifts. I'll show you guys how to make the drift out of the other. Yeah, it works. I'm good. I'll keep that around just in case they decide to do a spoon. All right. So here we go. Did anybody find a hot? There it is. There's a hot cut. Now, since I've already gotten this, basically I've already got the round mostly chased out of it, I'm not going to worry about making this thing round. I will knock the corners off, just so it's a little smoother transiting. I'm not going to worry about it too much.
Now we're sitting a little more level.
By the way, that's just really rough, crude forging right there. That's called, I don't really care what it looks like, whether it's pretty, me forging on it or not. It's just getting the work done. If you want it pretty, make it pretty. But this is a railroad spike. No, I shut it down. All right. We're going to clean up this square. So this is like the other type of drift here I was previously discussing. We're just going to draw 2 short tapers on this piece, and that's going to be good enough. Flip that around and we'll cut that off. It's like I never forged a railroad spike at all. You'll never know. Except it's something like living on forever with camera. Don't get my face in there. It's too late. It's in there. Yeah, do a little blurry face actually. Black bar right across. Put a voice filter on it. Make sure when you do the voice filter that you give me a really good deep baritone voice. No Mickey Mouse stuff, okay? Just yeah, the chipmunk. So one of the things I do here that I have adopted in my shop is anytime I'm engaging anything with a cutting edge, anything that's a tool, that's tool steel, that's hardened, anything like that, I go to a soft face hammer in all cases. You don't want to use your forging hammer on other high carbon. It's just the same thing. High carbon steel face to another high carbon steel face. Don't want to do that. Plus, if your forging hammer has a softer face, which hopefully it does, than what this hot cut does, when you wail on that, now you got a line in here. Now, no matter where you chase that piece, you're adding some texture to your, you know, forging aesthetic. That's what you're adding to your future pieces. We want to avoid forging aesthetic in this case, and in most cases, or unintentional forging aesthetic. You see how I built a much smaller fire? This, I raked out all this extra coke here and breeze and stuff that was burning along the sides. You don't need this gigantuan blaze going on here. So move that off the side, and then when we go back to actually drifting that And then I'll just shovel all that coke right in the center and up we go. We're good to go. Right about here where there's a swell. Give myself a little bit of help and cut to center. Or as close to center as I can get it. What's that?
They're both passed out.
They both passed out over there?
Look at Brandon's face is all red.
Well, there's this. When I did that demonstration with Peter Brunner, he had talked about how they play. They would, when they needed a striker, they tap that anvil like that, and they would see how quietly they could tap that and still get a striker to come over. You're good. You're good. Just stay where you're at. I think I wore them out. They look wore out to you?
Yep.
Huh?
Yep.
They look wore out?
Yep.
Yeah, they're a little toasted around the edges.
I'm walking over here. You should have been running over here.
I don't need it yet.
Oh, you don't need one, eh?
Nope.
That's
Not yet.
pretty awful.
Go take a nap in the shade or whatever you gotta do.
Really? Yeah.
There is no shame in having to rest a while.
Skill I learned in the Army. Sleep when possible.
My dad will attest to that. My mom made my dad madder than I have ever seen him in all my life. He had a lazy boy, like a really plush lazy boy chair, armchair. He absolutely loved and adored. But every time we'd sit down, because when he'd come back from field exercises and stuff, I mean, he'd hit that chair, and it seemed like he'd be out for 2-3 days, you know? And we go, and every time we'd sit down to watch a movie, he'd sit down there, and we're supposed to be playing a family board game. It'd come around his, and I'm not talking like a long game like Monopoly or something. I'm talking like Sorry or like Guess Who or whatever. It'd come around to his turn, he'd be out in that chair. So my mom got mad at him, and while he was on field exercise, she got rid of his chair. Oh, he was lit when he came home. Literally, I think one of us kids could have died, and we wouldn't have received the same amount of anger or frustration that he had about that chair. That was his baby, was that chair, you know? But that was one of his things. He just said, you know, if you gotta sleep standing up, you sleep standing up. If you're sitting down, well, you just sleep sitting down or whatever, you know. It didn't have to be horizontal, and heck, it didn't even have to be a bed. Find ways of sleeping. Yeah, they about came to blows over that one, the chair incident of '92.
That wasn't part of the report, but she just got the whole didn't like it.
Leave from out of our chair better part of that.
Normal one. And it wasn't way down. Oh, it's back.
Ready to buy that shirt. And I told my wife, I was like, you can get whatever furniture you want. Whatever you want. You can give me your time. I don't want it. They're so ugly, they're so old school looking. They're
Your own chair.
So, this is what I like to call the classic doobie shape. Anybody knows what a doobie is?
Yep.
I know we were supposed to keep it family friendly, but that's the classic. I would call it something else. There's another name for it. But anyway, yeah. So this shape is a very handy shape. I'll put that out there. This, in all seriousness, go ahead, get it out of your system. It's okay to laugh. This shape is a very handy shape in the respect that the way that it is designed and it's shaped, it's very mechanically sound against deflection. So when I make all my chasing tools, punches, chisels, things like that, I make them in this shape if I can. It helps direct and center up the hitting energy through the piece, but it also counteracts any deflection that you may get, as it doesn't bend. If you get something that's just a round rod and you whack on it on the end, especially if it's long, it'll spring on you. You'll get deflections. Into squares, not so bad at that, or rectangles, not as bad. Square is probably the most secure shape, but that, whatever you want to call it, I just call it the doobie shape because that's what it is, basically. That's what it looks like. That shape is very effective. Provides ample support to the working end and to the hammering end to not, do a lot of deflecting around, bending or deforming on you, which is very handy. So, can I have somebody clean this up for me?
Grant. Come clean that up.
Just clean off the burr on the top, flush off the bottom. Clean. Thank you. Any questions? Question and answer time.
Yeah, I got a good one for you, Roy.
Go ahead, Frank.
Okay, one thing I've seen on your live stream that you use a lot, and I haven't seen you use it yet here. Explain the coal mop to these people.
The coal mop, that's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
I gotta have some filler for tomorrow.
Okay, I'll have to wait till tomorrow. even though I brought the towel in and put it in there for him so he has it ready.
That's tomorrow's work.
Okay, that's tomorrow.
Leave something for tomorrow.
Yeah. If you all need to stand up and walk around and move a bit, you can. It's okay to get the blood stirring. Woo. Yes, sir.
Punches and chisels that you use every day. What kind of wood skill you like to use for that? Every day use all the time.
Coil spring. I've heard it's 5160. I've heard coil spring is 5160. So I use that.
Across the board, never 5160 usually. All automotive coils.
Yeah. So I use automotive coils.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. 5160.
Yeah. So that's what I use mostly, and the only reason why is because I've got a bunch of it lying around. So it's basically been given to me. It's like free material, and who can argue with free? I generally suggest, 5160 just makes a really great, in my opinion, all-around general purpose tool steel for a lot of different things. I use a lot of 10 series stuff just because it's usually cheaper than 5160 or 4140 or something like that. Plus, I don't have a lot of time under my belt with heat treating or proper heat treatment of, say, your 4140s or other exotic steels, if you will. They're not that exotic. They're exotic to me just because I haven't done a lot with them. But, I'll use for stuff that if I know I'm going to be using a particular drift a lot, I'll make it out of 1045. If I know it's going to be one that I'm going to keep in the material for a while and do any shaping of stuff on it, I'll make it out of 1095. I guess it's not really considered tool steel. It's still called a medium carbon steel, is what it is. Is that what it is? 1095. Okay. So, yeah, and they tend to, they hold up pretty well to the abuse inside of stuff. Here recently, I've only had a few tools that I've had that were from H13, and so with the recent orders that I've had, trying to make some tooling to go under the presses and trying to go under the power hammer whip and stuff, I've made some H13 tooling.
That's really good for high temperature cutting tools. H13.
Yep.
And then you know, like your S7s, they're more like I'm a farrier, so like S7 I use for like friction, countersinks, my nails.
Yeah, good
Like
impact
that,
steel.
because it's shock. Because
Yeah.
you're hitting that all the time, and it holds up to that shock.
Yeah.
In hard steel. And to tell you the truth, I don't temper S7 or H13. I just let it air cool, and it holds up now.
And here comes our
I use
drift.
like a lot of guys use like beeswax. I use this Forster hook packing. It's got a grease in it, you know, and I just
Thank you.
hit it in that.
That's a lot of shit on the side of your handle, right?
Yeah.
Deep quench.
Well, no, I just stick it in that.
I like how you said that. Yeah, that's that glob.
Well, it is. It's black and it's medicated peat moss, and they use it for hook tack.
Yeah.
And it works the speed. And it's got a lot of oil and pine tar and stuff in it. You just stick the punch in there and lubricates it. So when I'm driving friction through that, where I'm punching that hole through,
Yeah.
it comes right out. And it helps temper that and keeps the temper in it, you know.
Yeah.
It works great. I've used it for years, and I've been doing it for 40 years, and
Yeah.
I've used it forever, you know.
Yep.
And it lasts a long time. It lasts 2 or 3 years. It's about like that. You stick it on the base of your handle, chisels, everything.
That's neat. What's that called again?
Forster's hook tack.
Okay, Forster's hook packing. I'll check that out.
And I made a lot.
I don't usually ever lubricate any of my punches or drifts for the most part or anything like that. So mainly because I've got motor oil or vegetable oil as my only 2 options that I've ever picked up. So
If you want your
but
shop
that
to
hook
be
packing.
extraordinarily messy in a very short period of time, you can make that hockey wood. It's 1 part powdered graphite, 1 part powdered molybdenum disulfide, water, and dish soap. It will make a drift come out and go in like nothing I've ever seen.
Really? Huh.
I didn't know that's that. Yeah.
Hook
I
packing.
mean, it ain't cheap, you know, but you would buy a smaller jar of it.
Yeah, that's gonna last you and all your friends for the rest of your performance.
Yeah, I mean, when I get it, at the track, people use it, and they say, oh, give me a lot of ball of that, you know. Ready to go. So how are you doing? I'll get that.
Is that what you wanted?
Yeah. That'll work. The other kind of drift. So if you want to make that style drift out of something like this, the last, say, third of this, you would round. Go to octagon, then round, and then when you grind it, you just transition that back into the square portion there. Yeah, good question about the steel on that, and I like hearing the feedback of what other people use too, and what they do all the time. I'm fairly new to H13, but I was reading on it and educating myself about it because of this 30-pound sledgehammer that I'm making for a client. So I need something that's... He's a carny, I guess, so... Yeah, he's carny, so he's making... Hit, where you ding the bell, that game where you ding the bell? I'm like, you're going to lose a lot of teddy bears. Because, those hammers that they use at those carny games, they're like 8 pounds, maybe, if you're lucky, and they're like big and that. So like a 30-pound. He's like, I want a long handle too. I'm like, Well, you're paying for it, so.
You try to get 35 on.
So that, so I selected the H13 just based upon the fact of how hard it stays at really high temperatures. You're not even talking about tempering it until you're above 1,000 degrees on it.
Yeah, it doesn't,
you know,
it
so
doesn't develop its full
H13.
hardness until about.
Yeah, and if you look, it's actually a curve. It's an arc like that. You know, you actually have to get it hot, and then like at that 1,000 degrees, it's like at its peak hardness, and then it doesn't lose that until about 300 degrees over that, and then it kind of just starts barely losing hardness out of it. And I'm like, well, I need that.
I don't even think much stuff. You just
Nope, it's air hardening.
You just let the air cool. They are enough to reduce that.
Yeah, and then it'll get harder as you.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I was on the fence between S7 and H13 though, for that reason. Because S7's air hardening tool, and it's an impact steel resistant. But when I looked at the data sheet on it, it starts a lot lower in temperature. It starts losing its temper earlier on. Yeah, I mean it's still not bad. I mean it's still like 500-600 degrees before it starts tempering.
Like your punching, if you're doing high punches or straight punches, and you're doing a split grip or something like that.
Yeah, great for that. Yeah. Yeah. I was on the fence because you know that stuff's not cheap, especially buying it in the size that I was buying it. So it's not cheap.
Where do you get that from?
I get it from Alro. They've actually really opened up over. You know, when I first got into blacksmithing about 10 years ago, I was looking around trying to find some anvil-related steel and just steel I can make tools out of stuff. I went to Alro, they wouldn't even deal with me. They're like, we don't know you. That was about 10 years ago, and now they actually deal with the public. You know, if you weren't ordering a ton and a half. Yeah, they didn't want to fool with you. Now they're great. I mean, you go down there and they're like, oh yeah, well, let me help you out. What do you need? You need an end cut vent pump? Sure. Yeah. Because I asked. I forget what I asked for the one time. I want to say it was, I think it was 5160. I had heard just a bunch of older smiths talk about 5160 and it was grand and glorious, and I didn't know anything about it at that time, so I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll see if I can find some of that. Called them up, like that. How much you need? I'm like, well, you know, I was thinking maybe a couple foot of it. Click. They didn't want to deal with this guy, you know, just a couple foot. So call back, I'm like, I believe I got disconnected. I was that guy. Click. All right. So now we're going to drift these out a little bit bigger. So we went ahead, made a slightly bigger one there. We're going to drift that one out. A lot larger now to that size, whatever that may be. Something, not sure what it is, but it's more than what we got. I think it's the size that this was.
This should be 5/8.
Yeah, so that's going to be 5/8 ish.
I didn't take much out.
Esque. 5/8 esque. If you're an artist, it's esque. That's the selling point. You don't give them round numbers. You know, you look at my store. It's like it's 23 inches esque. Maybe. It might be. Then again, I might change my mind. At random. No, that doesn't really work. Don't do that. Bad business. don't do that. That don't work. You gotta put real sizes up there.
It's kind of like they're going to measure right.
Most of you see just say all dimensions may vary. These are hand quarter size.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of my customers that agree with that statement. Now they're like, I thought you said. Like, did you not read the red print that was in bold and in parentheses? About the tolerances. don't think we're going to need that anymore.
No, come to think of it, people that are selling like hand hammers.
They are bad strikers. It's just horrible. Oh, you're deaf. I could do a that.
Drum roll.
I don't need a striker. I just need the animal to be moved. I could do that myself. I just thought you were relaxing too much over there.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
kind of wanted to see you move. Roll this out
The
of the
young
way.
guy makes the old guy get up and grab the hammer.
I just like doing
I just
that.
like coming
random.
around here because I'm a young guy when I come around here.
Ralph never got up.
The rest of the world I'm considered middle-aged.
How old are you, Mike?
36.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
You
60.
are old.
Yeah, I wish I was.
I'm just told something that to take offense to.
You made that out of railroad spike?
Yeah.
Or no?
Yeah. That was out of road.
Only because it's on film. Otherwise we would just say it was steel.
Steel.
And you get enough for your speed swage.
I do. Just a little bit. Isn't it funny, you know, the older you get, those things like age and stuff, you just kind of, you start shutting up a little bit about it. And then it goes the opposite way, it seems like. It seems like once guys get like 50, get a little bit of white in the beard, maybe 55, then they start toting their age like
Yeah.
young whippersnapper, and
Like I made
then
it
they go the opposite way. What's up with that? It's like I'm like not proud I'm 30, you know? It's just like, I'm happy I made it to 30. I'm good there.
I don't know if Roy's run into this yet, but I know I ran into it a lot. And that's where the mind says, yeah, we can do this. The body's going, no, you're not.
Haven't run into that too much yet,
Yeah.
but
There's
a few things, yeah.
The mind really convinces the body, darn it, we're going to do this. You know, even if it kills us.
hey Mike,
Okay,
you can go
fine,
back
I
and
can
sit
do
and
that.
relax, but I'll call you.
And the next day you wake up half dead from doing something you thought you could do.
Hey,
Yeah,
by the way,
that's the problem.
thank you
The
for all
mind
your
doesn't
help.
match the physical age
Thank
of the
you.
body.
Enjoy it.
I do appreciate it. And see, if this is Peter Brunner, he wouldn't tell you that. So he's like, I don't want to hear your sissy excuses. It's like, you hit like a girl. I'm like, yeah, Peter Brunner, yeah, I helped him strike. Yeah, that was his thing. Yeah. He was about heading for a lynching is what he was doing with all the sofa staff. He was a tough cookie, Peter Brunner was. He was a tough cookie for all the volunteers, you know. Those older guys that were volunteering to help. They're like, I'm a volunteer, pal, not a slave, you know. They were not into it.
I'd have been firing back.
Yeah, so basically, with him, it's probably a do or do not mentality. There is no try.
Well, the way, like, yeah, it was great. Oh, poor Ben Beckett Fords. That guy, he got the brunt of it. Usually, he was on his target list. It was quite comical. But that I came from construction, so and then he couldn't say a whole lot that was going to hurt my feelings at all. If I got tired, I'm like, peace out, dude. I'm out of here. You know, have fun.
Yeah, for anybody that's never been to Sofa, you gotta go. It's worth the 5-hour trip from Northeast Ohio down there. You'll learn more in one weekend than you probably will in your whole lifetime. The problem is staying put at one demonstration, because it's interesting at this one, and then you look across the way, and what are those guys doing at that one?
Something
Maybe I'll
else
go look at that
interesting,
one.
yep.
And then you realize, hey, what are they doing at that one? You know, it's like, yeah, so you kind of get bits of demonstrations, you don't get to see the whole thing. So if you do stay for a whole demonstration, you got to figure out, okay, on Saturday I'm going to watch this guy, on Sunday I'm watching this guy.
Yeah, well, see, you know, you guys come around here, and like with this demonstration, if again, I'm not your cup of tea. You know, they have to have all them rings and stuff. Because if I just happen not to be your cup of tea for the day, you're stuck with me.
Yeah.
See? Whether you like it or not. I mean, you could be rude and just like walk off somewhere else out into the pasture space, but you're kind of mostly
So
stuck
far, you
with
must
me.
be everybody's pleasure. We have a good crowd going.
Yeah, we do. But yeah, at SOFA, you know, if you get a little bored at one, you can mosey on over to the other. You get a little bored there, you
Then if
can
you want
mosey
some,
on over
and
to
if
the
you want
other.
some shits and giggles, get there for the Friday night chorus competition. Watch all these amateurs go at it.
Yeah. Biggest thing I like about that competition is there are guys in there that you think, man, oh yeah, they're going to do great. Oh man, you know, there's a ringer, there's a true ringer on that, right? Because you know their work or whatever. And when you put that time limit on them, their skills fall out the window. You know, they just drop off the map, and you end up getting some young guy that doesn't know how to go slow.
Yeah.
You know, end up winning it or something. I like seeing that.
Yeah, that's the problem. Everybody works at their own pace, and you put that, what, 20-minute, half-hour time clock on them?
Yeah.
Yeah. All of a sudden, it's like, I gotta get this done, gotta get it done. Can't wait for it to heat up. It's not hot enough, too bad. Hit it anyway.
Give everybody a break here and drift this. Alright, so basically just like before, I'm going to drift this out here. Brush that. It's good, you can take a break. I'm just going to do it by hand. This time I'm going to do it by hand, by myself here, to show that it can be done. Although how hard this may be at trying.
Come on, you swing that hammer like a...
But notice how I'm still going while everybody else is relaxing. Oh, one hammer blow. There you go, that's all you get. Oh, poor show, Roy. Poor show. Finish chasing it through the other side here. Well, that's not one to come out, eh?
There it is.
There we go. There we go. Now we got that squared up quite a bit. Now it's at least usable. And that's a one-time use. I mean, you could dress it up and probably use it again on a few more holes, but you're not going to use it on many. If you anticipate in your shop that you're going to be doing a lot of this kind of work, just drifting later on, it's a size that's common. I'm not talking something out left field, 9/16 or some weird thing like that. Make it out of something like S7, or make it out of something that's just a good, decent steel that's going to hold up for you. That way, you don't have to spend a lot of time remaking drifts. But since a lot of these are just like a one-time deal here, I don't plan on going into manufacturing these anytime soon. since that's a one-time deal, make it, forge it out real quick. You can do it by hand. It's not, there's no specialty heat treatment or anything you have to do with it. Drift your hole and be done with it. So now we will go ahead and drift this one up a little bit larger. We used that one before. We're going to go ahead and use this one. Again, we're going to use this one for this. So basically we're just going to make a double duplicate of that. For what reason? Because I wanted square holes on this side, that's why. I wanted square holes.